go.
For once, I wasn't the one who started the countdown.
It's all right. We're not doing countdowns.
We're alive!
Yeah, I know, right?
And it's not even Saturday night.
No shit. Oh, wait. There's a bad word there. Oh, no.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
We're live. I need to turn my camera
Wait. How many more seconds do I have to wait before I say, let's fuck this pig? Oh, I said it.
fuck you, Shauner. Okay.
We were your podcast before we started. Okay.
What did I join?
Nothing.
Okay. So,
The fuck you, Shauna Club.
No. Yes. No.
Maybe.
Okay, so my name is Bruce, and with us tonight we are doing a Fae deep dive. This is part one of a multi-evening stream of Fae. Our friend Lady is in the chat while we look at Crafting Gamer's wonderful amount of minis he's about to embark upon.
Oh, it's a Death Dread, so it's literally it's I think it's about give or take that tall.
Nice.
It's very tall.
Before we get into the topic tonight, I do want to just say thank you to the people that waited for us for 8 minutes to start. Six Nations 31 Kings, they've got everything. Yeah, he's got everything he needs for stream tonight. We all laugh. Good deal. Can't say it works. Turning your clothes inside out keeps them away from you. Yeah, I've heard that one before. Okay, long cold winter. No. Cycling heater dying. I'm good. 8,000 or more for a new unit. $500 for a new control board. And then our friend Soy-Based Jeremy moves in the chat. All right. Welcome to our show. And with us tonight, along with the Crafting Gamer, I'll be painting up a couple of figs from the wonderful game called Big Trouble in Little China. Instantly enough, based off of a movie. And
Good movie.
Amazing film. Best movie I've ever seen. Best movie for its longevity.
I just can't trust anybody who doesn't like that movie.
I can't talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not.
I have to meet somebody who doesn't like that movie.
I'm going to be a very good man. I'm going to look at that TableBreakers logo up there and be like, nope. Okay. Cigar DM, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Lady says, Jade, you class the crew up. Think of it as a sacrifice.
We
As
do.
long as there's no chanting.
We
We're
kind of like, we're like Carbondale's Southern Illinois University back in the 1990s. We were reeling in public relations from having Jenny McCarthy be one of our alumni, and then all the times in the 80s where people would go out for Halloween or Devil's Night and flip cars on fire. And then, you have Napoleonic's convention, and that's kind of like what we do with TableBreakers. We're a bunch of drunken pricks, and here's Jade. Let's wheel Jade out, put him front and center. Hold on, let me get this right.
Hey, we here at the Pre-Enactor Society, I take insult from that comment.
There we go. See, he classes us up. Okay, I'll get back to regular size.
Okay, look.
Yeah, I got to get an Optimus. I got to get a really good cab over. I really got to get a nice little cab over. No, that wasn't a cab over. That was wasn't that a long nose Pete? I'll have to look that up. I'll find it.
On which generation we're looking at?
Whatever it was for the Pork Chop Express.
I'm not a tractor. I'm not a trucker. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't expect you to know. You don't have a CDL. No offense. I'm not saying that truckers know everything, but it is kind of the wheelhouse.
I think I have a cousin that's a trucker. I can ask him, but
I'm just going to Google it real quick.
I was about to say,
grew up to be a trucker.
I thought about when I was younger. Then somebody pointed out what a lot lizard was, and I just got turned to what? I'm like, no, I'm good.
This is an interesting introduction to how we're going to handle Faye.
We're bringing in the chaos now because once you have the Fae, you have the chaos, yes?
Yeah.
Looking for a Freightliner.
Oh, Oh yeah, it is a Freightliner, and that's the one by Tallery.
Now, we got Jade here that will keep us somewhat in line, but we don't have the good old Baron who, makes sure we all behave. You know what they say, when the cat's not home, the mouse will
Yeah,
play.
we can't throw you out the stream for 5 seconds. So
Nope. Well, that's technically Baron's thing. My mom can say, no, Bruce can, but I don't think he will.
It's not in my desired list of things to do yet.
Give it time.
I know. I'm looking at this model kit somebody's got of the Pork Chop Express. I put the link in the chat if you guys want to look at it. Somebody's got an amazing amount of time to build a 1/24th scale Freightliner. Oh. And listen, they're such a hardcore painter. They have various paints in the background, but the ones that are most prominently on display are testers. That's when you know you're dealing with somebody that has a lot of patience.
No, not anymore. I'm done with the testers a long time ago.
That ship has sailed. Okay. So, Jade, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm hanging in there. Let's put it that way.
Do I need to come over with a 6-pack? Make life better? Yes, no?
No. I just need to, be up by 4 a.m. and in bed no later than 10. So.
I went to Costco. I went to Costco and I saw the thing you bought, and I went to go look at my bank account, and it said, fuck you.
Yes.
I want a calendar that gives me alcohol.
Well, they do have the beer calendar there, and it's far less expensive than the Scotch calendar.
It's not the same.
I know it's not the same. Yeah.
You've been around me enough. I could drink until the cows come home. When it comes to beer, alcohol though?
No, that's a bad thing. I was drinking a couple of Russian stouts the other night, and I was still really not feeling the effects of the alcohol.
So when it comes to the Fae, you should not trust them around small children or alcohol. So most of us in this panel.
Yeah, I was about to ask a question. Getting on the subject of Fae, do we get our Fae drunk?
No.
Yes.
One does not.
Yes.
Well, it's like Russia. In Russia, you don't fight the bear. The bear comes and sleep with you. But Fae have been around in folklore. We talked about this last year, roughly around this time, when I did my one shot about folklore and how important it is and campaign setting. And part of folklore is, of course, the wee folk, the Fae, the small ones, the people under the hill. They have many names because there's many of them. You have creatures, Fae, if they do by the court system. You have the winter court. They're normally the ones that are evil, your trolls, your red caps. Then you have your good Fae, which are good Fae. Is there such a thing as a good Fae?
I mean, those who live in Tir na Nog.
No.
The high Shi of Tir na Nog are considered the good Fae.
Yeah.
Typically.
Debatable.
But do you trust them?
Oh, no, you don't trust the Fae. Like, there are rules of dealing with the Fae. And if you're going to run Fae as a game master, you know the rules that the Fae have to follow. And, lean into the lore and the tropes of Fae. Never accept a gift from Fae. And never say thank you to a Fae, because it puts you into their it puts you into their debt by saying thank you. Instead say something along the lines of I am grateful. Things to that nature. Like the Fae world, or at least the Fae of lore and legend, were tricksters for the most part. There are multiple legends of Fae, especially when Christianity came along, of Fae being fallen angels who weren't necessarily fighters of hell, but weren't, on the side of humanity or good. They were kind of caught in the middle. And, according to Christianity, those are what became Fae. But the Fae have a long, long history, especially in Gaulish lands and Celtic lands. And they all follow simple rules. And you can find the rules of the Fae, and you can do an online search for it. And you can, if you play by those rules and your characters and your players understand the rules of the Fae, it can lead to some very interesting interactions and role play at the table.
I mean, technically, we already have Fate in a lot of the campaigns systems that we have. The elves.
No, hold on. Soy-based Germany. No, Gauls are not Fae, or not Celts. The Gauls and the Celts are actually distinct groups, separated groups. The Gauls were mostly in French and German territories, whereas the Celts and the P-Celts, or the Pictish, were mostly in the Scottish lowlands and Isle of Man, as well as Ireland.
I mean, Julius Caesar thought Ireland is where fairies came from, because on a clear day, you could see Ireland from the coast. On a not so clear day, you cannot see. It disappeared in the mist.
And that's part of the legend of Fae in most of the British Isles. Is it was the land beyond the mist. It was Tir na Nog. It was the land of mists, or the land of youth, and because the island could disappear on a foggy day, people were superstitious of it. And anyone who came from the mists, especially the Vikings, or rather the Norse, they feared the mist. They feared anything beyond the mist, because it could be something that would trick people away and take them away.
That's interesting.
Now, since we're doing a deep dive on it, and pretend that I didn't read Discord and all the shenanigans that we have on Discord on a day-to-day basis, what side of this are we talking about? Are we talking about the creatures or the land tonight?
I think we should try to find a focus on that. If I can impart an opinion.
I was under the impression we were starting with creatures, and then next week we were going to do lands.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
We have a private channel Discord where we talk about what we're talking about that following week, but sometimes it gets lost in the weeds because we talk about other things.
I write a lot of stupid shit. Just say it.
Kai's one of my favorite people, so I won't say that out loud.
No, you can say it. I have an entire channel dedicated to stupid shit.
If it's not Bruce's laptop, it's Kai talking about something. So anyways, all right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we start with the good, or we should start with the I think they'll work with me, but I still don't trust them with my sandwich.
We can drip feed information in. So let's start with creatures and go with just a general overview real quick. The basics are good, and then we can start, as hour 2 starts, we can get a little bit more precise on things. How's that sound?
I assure you, Jeremy, I'm not gay. Although it does make me wonder if my life would be easier if I was.
No.
You'd be more prone to domestic violence.
I'm Irish Romanian. We created domestic violence.
I mean, I'm not going to fight that one.
No, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Damn it, woman, where did you put my beer? I don't want to hear you drunk. See, that's a horrible thing. I mean, there's a song about 7 drunken nights.
I know that song quite well.
Stay on target.
All right, so. Oh, God.
Right,
I'm sorry. I've had caffeine today. A lot of it.
It's all right. I'm getting ready to snort some beans right now. Wait, what? What?
Um.
I just started dipping them straight.
Okay.
You don't mind the water. You just go straight. Got it.
I want to say deeper origins than just Paizo, Pathfinder, Fae. I mean, Paizo's done a pretty okay job with giving you ideas of what to look for in Google or Bing, but I wouldn't say Paizo's Pathfinder or Golarion world has the lockdown on the definitive Fae at all.
Oh, no.
Well, I actually that I put in Discord that is directly relevant to that.
Oh, yeah? What did he put?
Like, do you make up your own? It was literally, do you make up your own Fae? And if so, what effect do they have on the world around it that you have built up so far? That was literally one of the questions. Baron's like, hey, question. So I was like, here's one.
That's actually a good question. We can leave with that question. Why not? Do you want me to ask her, or do you want me to just do a round robin with it really quick, Gamer?
We could go with
since I brought it up, I can be the one who asks.
That
works too.
Round robin.
Literally does not bother me.
Okay, we'll do a rob. I'll ask. Fine. Fuck it. So, Kai, the reader of books, the knowledge of the foreign loan, the alchemist of the caffeine headaches.
Yes.
The ditcher of movies.
I'm sorry. Life happens. I'm sorry.
So when you're running a campaign, you decide to have Fae in it. Do you make your own Fae as was presented, or do you use the Fae that's already in print? And how do you use them in your game?
Okay, first off, any of the in-print book fairies are kind of jokes, and they're just kind of like that thing that creates whimsy to make your girlfriend happy. Look, fairies, and they go, oh look, it's kind of like a little laser pointer to go for your significant other, and that's the basic Fae out of the monster manuals for most games. I'm for one kind of, but I like my fairies more along the lines of the fair folk of Exalted, or I like and I mix that in with changelings from World of Darkness changeling, and so I kind of like having mine being a hodgepodge mix of more terrifying, more folklore-ish, without being completely bound to the folklore. Because I do also pull in a bit from other sources, and yeah, you mix and match and make your own. Because honestly, if you can tell that whoever writes any monster manual for anything that involves leveling or that kind of stuff, all they know how to do is write trash. And congratulations, here's some goofy small thing that makes you happy, and makes you happy because you're happy they can show up there and make you and light a path for you, and that's about all they ever freaking do out of the main book. It's like, wow, no. But no, I do completely and totally pull from a lot of other sources to make the fairies more interesting and fun. I don't really know how to best describe that. Besides, if you're going to play in one of my games, just realize that you're going to be I am pretty much looking at a race of creatures who hate consensus, who hate banality, who hate the idea of a locked in, frozen understanding of the universe, and they kind of get pissed at you because of your most people's in their very, very traditional ideals, like this is how the world works. No, this isn't how the world works, and that kind of fun stuff. So if I start to introduce fairies, the world, you're in a bad place where the world's not going to be stable for much longer, and you should actually be fearing the idea of fairies in most settings, unless it's playing modern. And at that point, we're just playing Changeling the Dreaming, and we're not playing anything else. And I'm gonna punish you for playing fairies. Congratulations, but it's a lot of fun. But was that what you were hoping to find?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll go with Bruce next. Actually, no. That's not. I see hands, and for a second, I thought they were Bruce's. I was so confused. Crafty Gamer.
Once I finish this pizza, you'll get my hands on there. Okay.
All right. This is a hands-on conversation. Damn it. Would you, if you're running a campaign right now, and we saw what kind of campaign you run, and it's awesome, but if you're doing your campaign, would you introduce Fae into your world, and what kind of Fae would you introduce?
Yes, I would. And Fae, for me personally, are kind of a wide spectrum. They're covered by most everything that is mythological, but not really explainable. Like, for example, a griffin is kind of explainable in the fact that it's a lion and an eagle. Fae inhabit their own little niche of reality where a human just simply can't explain it. Oh, look, it's a little naked person with wings. No, trust me, that's not what it actually looks like. You could not comprehend what it actually looks like. Oh, well, that sounds like an angel. Oh, yes, it does. But you could not comprehend what the fairy really looks like. That's the way I play off my Fae, and I'm pretty sure from the way Kai was talking, it would definitely be the same way here. When I do, because I would definitely introduce them now, it'll only be a matter of time, they're going to have some sort of effect on the world that you're not going to like very much, or you're going to absolutely love. Either way, it's going to be significant because the Fae themselves, just by the presence of them being there, will warp reality. Enough of them is like 40k orcs. They can literally change everything if there's enough of them in one spot. So the Fae in my games are very dangerous. And introducing them, meaning the whole world could be flipped upside down if you're not careful dealing with them. I'm sorry, Kai, you were going to say something?
Oh, no. I'm just going, okay, I also agree.
Kai approves of this statement. Of this message. All right. Jade, I know you have Fae in your campaigns. I've been in a few of them where there's Fae in your campaigns. Have you ever thought about redoing one of the Fae monsters or whatever, give it a little bit more accurate twist, or just change it up a little bit more on its ear?
I mean, yeah, I've done on a number of occasions. In traditional Irish mythology of Fae, hobgoblins were never actually evil. It wasn't until actually the Christians came over and started converting people, and basically saying the Fae were actually devils or demons, that the hobgoblins became evil. So not all hobgoblins that my party runs into are straight up evil, because again, I follow the old mythos of the Dol Calfar and Tuelalafar, and even the fairies of Tir na Nog, and some of the other older truly Celtic Fae. So when I'm wanting to introduce Fae to my party, I will go pick up my old books on fairy lore from Ireland, and I will read through that and give it a good perusal of what Fae I want to bring in and why. Every Fae has a distinct purpose. They might be it might be a Fae that teaches through trickery. Might be a Fae that it is. When I do, let me collect my words for a moment. When I use the Fae, it has a purpose and a meaning behind it, because the Fae have spheres of influence in fairy, or the land of the Fae. And when they come over to the material plane, they come over with with intent and purpose, because they can't stay here for indefinite periods of time. Even if they're summoned or gated in, they always go back to their home realm. That is where their power resides. So were I to involve, let's say, one of the queens of fairy, or even Oberon, the king of summer, it will be for a purpose. They will likely be the quest giver, but they won't do it directly. They'll never ask directly the party to do something for them. They will always have to beat around the bush, because fairies are never direct with their words. They will always skirt around directness. And some of them, it's because they have been invested with a gias or a quest or something that they themselves cannot, for any means or for any reason, display or directly talk about the thing that they are having trouble with. Typically, it's some kind of curse that has been laid upon them by another powerful fae, and they will seek out mortals, because mortals can defeat some of the fae curses. Because mortals are almost immutable to fae curse. Yes, fae can curse individuals, and sometimes those curses can outlive even the whole bloodline. But for the most part, humanity mortals have the ability to circumvent some of the curses that fae can lay on them. So when my fae ask or come to my mortals, they come in disguise and they start laying out things that need to be done, but not directly tied to what they are having a problem with. And the players will have to figure out how all of these things are connected. So like I said, I go read my Irish mythos, my fairy lore of Ireland and of Scotland, and that's where I pull my fae from.
All right, Bruce, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, just want to make sure.
You're good.
How do you use fae in your world? How do you mess with their? Do you mess with them, or do you keep them as is, or do you try to stay close to the original source?
Up until recently, can you guys hear me okay, first off?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm not facing my microphone. My microphone is about 245 to where I'm at. I don't use fae like traditional sense, and it's not that I don't respect the history or the mythos or lore. I love it. But I was introduced to D&D back as a middle schooler, or right before middle school, actually. But I didn't play till middle school, and then I kind of abstained from it because I had Star Wars D6, and then we played a little bit of Star Trek, and then we finally got to D&D, and the Ravenloft box set came out. So me and Eric devoured that, and I didn't know much about the fae. But if you look at Ravenloft has the mists, which suddenly you're walking at night and it seems like a pretty okay night. You're walking along this road in the middle of England, and then the fog sets in, and then you bump into a bar, and then you're an American Werewolf in London. But in a lot of stories involving the fae, there's a story of Cormac that he's from the land of promise, and he's doing a bunch of things, but then he gets transported to basically a palace. His wife is taken, he follows the abductor, and he's magically taken to a land in heavy mist. And it's got two fortresses. You have one fortress with a bronze wall with white silver house, thatched in white bird wings. And there's a horseman stationed there, and the man's constantly burning an oak fire. The other fortress has 4 silver houses thatched in white bird's wings with a bronze wall surrounding it. And he goes in and finds a palace made with bronze beams and silver wattle, and he meets these various people that they were tasked with various things, but due to the fae, having their wiles, they are stuck in a purgatory of Groundhog Day every day, all of their days. And Cormac's tale kind of echoes that. And it's interesting because this is a legend that came from like 300 AD, Ireland. If I'm wrong here, let me know.
But, I know which one you're talking.
But
I know which one you're talking about.
But I always use Ravenloft for my Fae. Whenever I've got something that has a bit of a Fae tinge to it, that's what I run back to. That's like, that's your steady ex-girlfriend. You can always go back to for peace whenever you're running dry, and it gives it to you. And the Ravenloft does that for me. Because I know Ravenloft really good. I can go to the domains, I can go to the Isles of Dread, I can screw around in anywhere I'd like to, because once I start reading about a land, it's like, wait, I remember I've read this about 30 years ago. Let me find my old campaign notes. Let me remember what we did up till like 9th level, because that was high level, 9th level, high level. And it's not too hard to figure that out. But the Ravenloft for me was my Fae. And then when I start researching this, Turnanog and all the other items surrounding the Fae, I just see that the guys at TSR, fuck you motherfuckers, you guys were very unimaginative, and you just gave the Fae a paint job. That's it. And I hate to say that. But, we all, between that and then, of course we have, Christianity kind of doing their thing where they ruin everything they touch, because we had a really cool poem with Beowulf, but then the Christians touched it, and now we have to worry about, well, there's God's throne and all this crap surrounding God's throne in the middle of what's supposed to be a story of the ruler of the North, and wait, we've got like these passages detailing God's throne, but that's the hint of greatness is there. So does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, that answers my question.
Because Ravenloft has a lot of things that are Fae inspired, but they are not realized properly. And I hate to say that. I feel like I'm kicking Ravenloft, and I shouldn't, because there's a lot of talented GMs I know. They took what few sentences they read out of a module or book or monster manual, and they ran with it for a campaign, and they made it flow and ebb and breathe. Kind of like what Kai does. Oh, that's a nice looking mech. Let me build an entire campaign around it for your D&D.
It's entirely my job to kick Ravenloft around. I'm sorry. You can love it. Just
when it comes to Ravenloft, and I want to say this really quick because we just had Halloween. I want to bring up Halloween really quick, or Samhain, as the Irish would call it. I'm mispronouncing that one.
Samhain.
Samhain, yeah, Samhain. Which the night of Halloween is the night where the wall, the veil between here and, I'm going to use Butcher's wordage, never is at the thinnest. So a lot of the time with the Celtic mythology is the Fae were always kind of around. They're under hills, under bridges, or whatever. But it was on Halloween they were out the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and Butcher's been writing about the Fae quite a bit. His first book, he summons his particular favorite Fae with a box of, was it Domino's pizza?
No, the first time around it was a piece of bread with honey. Then Toot was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this wonderful thing called pizza?" And that's how the whole pizza cake went off.
Okay.
Because I'm a nerd and I read too much.
They're like, Samhain, fuck yeah, buy their albums, great band.
I mean, it's pronounced it's pronounced Samhain, but it is definitely spelled Samhain.
But Halloween, if you're running a campaign on Halloween and you don't want to do the normal werewolf, vampire, zombies, oh my, you could reach back into old Celtic mythology or Eastern Europe mythology when it comes to the Fae. Because holy crap, Eastern European Fae are nightmare fuel. I don't care who you are. They bring such creatures to you as the Baba Yaga or the Crump.
Well,
She's considered a Fae. Depends
Yeah.
on who you talk to. She is considered a Fae. But so those are also good places if you want to do something different for Halloween than the average spook and whatever. You can go back to using the Fae. That's where I was trying to go with all this. But to answer the question I asked was, yes, I do use Fae in my campaigns. But I Paizo is baby steps. At 3.5 D&D are baby steps. They don't actually, in my opinion, don't embrace the Fae for what they are. Oh no, it is a troop of red caps. How scary! If you have somebody at your table saying that about red caps, then you're running them wrong. You need to take off whatever training wheels the system puts on them and make them nightmare fuel. Sorry, I just read the condom. I'm like, what? So I tweak with them, but I make them more vicious. The ones that are deserving to be vicious, I make vicious. The ones that are more tricksters, more pranksters, like Puck from Midnight Dream.
Midnight Dream.
I'm tired. I had a long couple days, long day. Anyways, I make them more playful. But you need to, in my opinion, if you're doing Fae, you need to do your homework. I mean, technically, if you're playing any of the D20 ones that has elf in it, they're technically Fae. So you already have an in.
Well, elves are more Germanic Fae or even Norse Fae than Irish or Scottish Fae.
Either I don't disagree with it, but at the end of the day, they're still Fae. And those who have done the unholy of holies, who allow your players to play goblins, guess what? They're also Fae. So
there's a really good book called Dungeons and Delvers, and instead of halflings, David and Melissa decided they would stat up a player race because kobolds are quite often found in Fey knowledge. And there's 3 varieties of kobolds, which are really well done. I mean, they only have like a couple lines of description for each one, but the evocative nature that he writes with, and I got to give it to David. He's probably my age, maybe a little younger, but he's very accomplished at writing, and he does a very good job. I have a lot of high hope for him, but he has 3 varieties of kobolds that could be partially player characters, but there's the DM recommends that when you have the kobolds in your game, to always have them have potential things pulling them in other directions to provide the instability that they do that.
All right.
Now, Colin, you bring up Red Cap. The Red Cap was actually just a goblin. He was just a very murderous goblin.
I mean, you're right, but when it comes to I've always read Red Caps, and the way I've seen them, portrayed in stories is, they're murderous, but they crank where goblins will just murder you for whatever. The Red Cap will murder you, your family, and the neighbor's pet dog just for waking up. They crank it up to imaginary levels.
I think, and that's also because the story of Red Cap has actually been blown way out of proportion. Because the story of Red Cap is actually not, a group of murderous goblins. No. The story of Red Cap is just one in particular goblin who became so invested with rage and murder that he wrought destruction upon, I can't remember what lord it was, but I think it was Hermitage Castle, or in and around that area. where the story's origins are. But there was so much death wrought upon the area that the very land was, stained red with blood, and it was blamed on this one goblin. And the stories eventually go on to say that the Red Cap, the only Red Cap, lived in the ruins of castles where tyranny and wicked deeds were, soaked into the ground.
I can see that. This is why we have Jade. He can, he's our.
I love Faye.
Source.
Really do.
Depends on the topic. He's definitely our Wikipedia. If you want to see him do any more Wikipedia, let's talk about Japanese mythology. Him and Kai would have a heyday.
I think Kai would have me. Kai would have me beat on that.
No, we just have to get you some plum sake. I know how this works.
If you like watching Kai just talk, the last Kai's musings we did, there's like 30 minutes where I'm just painting figure, and I shut up. Like, I just let Kai speak and let him have it, and he runs with the ball. It's great.
It takes a while to warm up, but once I start going, it's hard to stop. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize for awesomeness.
Janet from Another Planet congratulated you. She sent me a text message or a Discord message like, "Wow, Kai could go rounds with me."
Probably. Now, mind you, if I was going to talk about the version of Red Caps that I know, it's unfortunately the Changeling version, which takes the legend and makes it a little bit more player friendly and playable.
Wait, how does it make it player friendly?
Like by actually like giving them actual personality and life, some basic abilities, and yeah, you have a bad attitude. Yeah, they have penalties towards interactions with other people, and they have, it's definitely of all the kith you could play, probably the one that you go, this is the most dickish of all of them. But you also know that if you're playing Changeling, that player ain't gonna last very long. His character's gonna die really quick because you're gonna fuck something up, and you just kind of walk away from him because you're like, well, you fucked this one up, bud. And yeah, he has the ability to pretty much devour anything that fits into his mouth, but that's a cool power. And yeah, they're intimidating, but they have a natural aura of intimidation. But that's kind of cool. But you gotta figure out other ways of making them playable and useful. Like, they're horrible, unseelie monsters, pretty much. But there's potential in making them not garbage if you can play an interesting one. Now, I've never seen a good Red Cap played, but I would love But if anyone wanted to take a challenge of playing a Red Cap that could survive a few adventures, I wouldn't say no. But then again, hey, the odds aren't in your favor. Go for it, man.
I'm kind of dumb enough to take that swing.
Hey,
just to see.
Hey, you might be.
I'm going to be. I'm going to be the Max Liao here. Don't play against type.
Well, you're saying I'm a good person and could not understand.
No. When it comes to Faye, don't play against type. Lean into it.
No. He wouldn't. I mean, if I played one, he by no means would he be good at all. But at the same time, he wouldn't outrightly be.
But the thing here is that when I say good, I don't mean a good alignment. I mean a person who's played one that's actually survived and played good. Because smart players who know how to play Fae tend to play interesting characters and look at all the other kits and go, wow, there's so many ways I could be awesome with this game and be totally cool. And then you have that one player who's like, I'm a complete total asshole. I revel in being an unseelie monster. I I revel in being a gangster and a bully. I love to inflict terror. And at which point the rest of the group kind of looks at you and goes, we put you in a box. Every once in a while, if we require someone to die, we open that box. And then we unshackle you, and then let your wonderful Stephen King inspired horror loose upon the universe. And then we go, are we gonna help him? Oh hell no. Why? He's gonna kill himself. Why? Watch him. And then he'll blender himself off into being awesome, and then find out that the rest of the world of darkness is actually pretty evil, and you may think you're the most biggest badass of the entire unsealing court, but remember, you're in the world of darkness, buddy. Everybody's out there. Everybody's a complete total jackass monster. Like, you might be able to terrify the wizard if you jump on him. You might be able to
find a way
to pay his attention. And the werewolf looks at you and goes, bring it, bitch. And it's on.
I don't know. I've played World of Darkness like twice, the D10, and it was a werewolf variation of it. I'd be interested in doing the other ones. I just gotta find a table of people I actually like.
That's cool. Changeling is the game that I love. And it's like with Mage going, man, if the stars align, I'll be able to play this. But I have more luck with Mage the Ascension than I do with Changeling the Dreaming. But I've been playing Changeling the Dreaming longer.
Fair enough. All right, so next question, since we're talking about classes and what people are able to play or not play, other than your gnomes, halflings, dwarfs, everything that's not human, that's your base classes. Or dwarfs, Faye. What do you consider a dwarf?
According to Germanic lore, yes.
So everything that's not human is Fae, and the base classes. Outside of them, is there any other true Fae you will allow at your table? I will start with Bruce.
Okay, I run a base version of the 3rd edition game. Okay, and so there's a lot of people that say, well, that's just like basic bitch RP, and that's fine. But I really don't want to. I don't want to use the dwarves as Fae. I don't want to use the elves as Fae. I want to use the Tolkien-esque versions of them, and I'm kind of letting the elves be their own version of Fae because we have the split between the high and the wood elves. I like using them sometimes, but I don't really want to. No, I don't allow extra versions of Fae other than what I've already got for players. The only thing I've done recently is I did let Travis's girlfriend play a centaur. I think I saw Travis in here at the start of the show, but I just the centaur I feel is probably the most brutal of the Fae, according to the legends I've read, and they're never portrayed kindly. You never find a centaur massaging somebody who just fell down the side of a mountain. The centaur probably was on the mountain with that person and hoof kicked him down the side of it, and then took him back up 30 feet and scraped the side of their face on the rocks just to make sure they're dead. They're not like super friendly. And that's the Fae legends of the centaur. Now the Greek myths are a little different, but they both have their half human, half horse myths, and
or half human, half goat.
Yeah. Oh, the satyrs are different. Satyrs. I'm not confusing centaurs with satyrs. That's another breed of like, oh my God, please no, don't have them in your campaign because not as players, because then you're just asking for things to happen. Like, hey, are we going to role play today? And let me roll a D6, and if it's a 3 or less, no, we're staying here and drinking. And you're like, but adventure, no, we're staying here and drinking. And I rolled a 2. And satyrs like to drink, from what I understand.
Like,
is that Mead? Oh, it was Mead. Now it's in me.
I had a character I wanted to play that was a satyr druid who worshipped the drunk god of Pathfinder, and his thing was
Alien, the same one you always worship.
Hey, it's easy. It's my two favorite things in the real life is the First Amendment and boobs. So it's a close. That's I can make this work.
Okay, Clay Travis. Clay Travis said that on fucking CNN, and that dumb bitch reporter made sure that thing spread around. She's like, I can't believe he said boobs on air. And he's like, because of the First Amendment, I can talk about boobs, a favorite subject of mine. You said it. You led us down this path. TableBreakers logo. My bad.
I said boobs. No, I said boobs. Okay, but no, I'm serious. That would I had a build up for that I thought would be a very interesting type of character to play. Most of the DMs who are running Pathfinder at that time just said no. Bastards.
Okay, what part of Fae and player character don't go along? It's the Fae player character. I'll shut up now. I'll let other people talk. Sorry.
All right. Let's start with you, Kai. You look like you're ready to jump on this particular wire. So, outside of the base norm beginning blocks of an RPG game, what Fae would you allow your players to play?
Well, since I know Boogan and Knockers are pretty much already pretty gnomes, I can just divide them up into that. I will pretty much let people play trolls, not the horrible mutant, disgusting creatures that are just annoying as fucking regenerating monsters. No, I like more mythological trolls, and occasionally I'll throw in hey, do you want to play I want to play an elf. Would you like to play a full-blooded she? I'll let you. Most people learn to say no whenever I start saying, do you want this thing? It's awesome. It jingles. Do you want this? No, you don't. But they say yes. Every once in a while, I'll get one that says yes, and I'll be like, here's your reading material. Start reading. Why? Play it right. Okay. And every once in a while, if I get a player who's retired, a veteran character, and I'm still playing a higher level campaign, I'll start being able to go, are you interested in playing, say, a Rakshasa? And they'll think, you mean the tiger with the hands backwards? I'm like, no. I mean fair folk. Like exalted level fair folk. But we're playing D&D. Fuck you. We're past 7th level. We're no longer playing D&D. This is D&D with we're still using rules, but we're now in the level where we can start playing real characters now. We'll slowly file the numbers off eventually. We'll get over to playing the real game eventually. And at that point, they go, I can play a fair folk. They go, there's limitations. You got to remember that. It's a fair folk. It's a Rakshasa. You're going to have to deal with the fact that that the world hates you and wants to turn you into, an unmagical creature who's boring like everybody else. And so you got to figure out how to stay wonderful, magical, and interesting. I think I can do that. Here's your challenge. Stay magical and interesting in a world of boring, in a world where no one changes forms and everyone believes in ideology and dogma. They don't question anything because they're stupid and they're ignorant. And this is all they know. Fix it. That's your job. You want to play this. That sounds awesome. I look forward to you being a bland, boring, grayed out person like everyone else. And yeah.
Kai?
Yes?
Got a question for you then. I know you do L5R.
Yes.
Would you consider yokai as Fae?
Yes. Holy shit, I would. Yes, they're spirits, but they're so close to and related to Fae. Oh my god, yes. And definitely, if somebody would, if somebody came to me and says they want to play an animated tool, a 100-year-old tool who's reanimated, who's become sentient and now wandering around, I'm saying yes. Okay, you can. If somebody wants to play something really cool and interesting, and say a yokai, I will be like, yes, dumps. Like I will wheel it. Like if somebody says they want to play that, I am wheeling out every toy and every book I've got, and we're gonna find you. We're gonna make you the thing you want and play it. And deep down, just remember, like I'm a Toho fan. I'm a Toho fan. So therefore, if you screw up with too much, I'm gonna hit you with playing cards and have a tea ceremony afterwards. Oh no, yeah. And
I'm lost, but that's okay.
That's okay. Weird Ass
that's okay.
About 10 years ago, and it's still amazing. Great music, good shooters. But yes, I would happily say yokai are in this category of extra. I don't say dimensional, but extra reality creatures that are fun as hell, and I would do it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Welcome to Kai's Dungeons and Dragons.
It's not a game that you were playing. I guarantee you that.
I love it, bud.
I know, but it's like one of those. Hey, what are we all playing? Oh no. Everyone's fucking weirdos. It's okay. But where are we at? In Weirdo Land. But where's Weirdo Land? Oh, it's over. It's 2 blocks off the. It's 2 blocks. It's 2 exits off the highway. Oh, okay. That's right.
Jade, I got to ask you a question.
Okay.
Maybe this is a bit better. I need to insert this question here. We're talking about a lot about Chernanog and UK-based Fae religions and mythology. There's a lot of fun mythology here in the North American continent, as I am thinking there is at every continent. But I'm just talking about the shit that's localized to where I'm at, because the world doesn't expand for 50 miles in any direction beyond where I'm at. But I got to say, would you consider Native American folklore to have a lot of Fae involved with it?
Yes, actually. Specifically, especially actually, some of the North American Native stories of beings that are more like spirits than mortal. I would classify them as potentially Fae, or even as yokai. The Wendigo you could probably classify as a Fae being.
I'm pretty okay. I don't say Wendigo a whole lot every year, or Skinwalker, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, either one of those could be considered a Fae because they were once a mortal who traversed into a different realm, be it a spiritual realm or another plane through their actions, or they were made that way. There are stories of the northern tribes up in Canada, actually even beyond Canada, in Nunavut, and they speak of legends of wolves. I think one of them is called Anamiki, and it's a wolf that it's got some pretty grave and grim stories about it, that it hunts the hunters in the darkness of winter. You would be well to learn about some of the stories of those beings from even Native American culture, because you could utilize them at your table. And before anyone goes, oh, but that's appropriation, fuck you.
Yeah, thank you.
Stories are meant to be enjoyed, and the stories are meant to be told. And if in the hobby that we are in, this tabletop role-playing hobby, stories aren't just meant to be told and enjoyed. They're meant to be being a part of. We're meant to take part in the stories that we tell as a collaborative group. And if the game master throws something, from a culture that you never seen or heard of, it can be all that much more terrifying, especially if you, the player, not the character, but the player, know nothing about it. The dungeon master or the game master can, take you on a grand adventure of the unknown. And that's kind of where the Fey Wilds are. It's the unknown. You don't know what's actually out there. So if your game master sits you down and you're exploring kind of a wasteland, out west somewhere, and you happen to hear the telltale signs of what sounds like wolves in the dark, but you know that there are no wolves. There has been no animal life for miles that you've been traveling. Something could be amiss, and it could be something supernatural. Where'd Crafting go?
I don't know.
The Fae took him.
Oh,
I don't know.
Mists.
Crafty, let me send him a message. Like, you coming back? I don't think I hit him. Did I didn't.
I don't think you did.
No.
His internet may have cut out.
I posted a link in chat shortly before he left, so he might have clicked on that and not opening a new tab.
Yeah, that can do it.
That's there's a lady named Cameron or Kelsey Crow, and she does a synopsium on the legends of Nahanni Valley, which is northern Canada. Northern Canada. Okay, cryptid talk, guys, gather around. Canada's got a lot of Sasquatch stuff in it right now. A lot of Sasquatch stuff is in Canada, but there is rumors of everything being in Canada, from various Fey folk, little folk. You have the typical hairy man, the big Bigfoot stuff, and then towards like the North Pole area, that's where the tales really get weird, because they start talking about like the species that you're not supposed to see anymore because they're supposed to be extinct. And I'm talking about the woolly mammoth. They're talking there's sightings up there of that. Getting equipment to stay relative and keep a battery when you're in negative 40-degree weather, you're gonna have a hard time with that. But it is a weird location. Northern Canada's got like a lot of stuff, according to Native American folklore, with woolly mammoths that are still there roaming around. You've got giants that are like 25 feet tall, and they have 6 fingers and rows of teeth, and they're still out and about in northern Canada. And it's just the further away you get from like civilization, we're talking like 700, 800 miles, you start bumping into the little tribes or reservoirs of Native Americans, the enclaves, where they're still eking out an existence. And they'll tell you, like, you don't belong here. This is an area that's reserved for us. And it's an area that does not need to advance in time. But that channel that I put on there, Hammerson Peters, if you like that sort of thing, if you enjoy really good, well-documented, well-researched bits like that, and you could call it creepypasta, or you could say cryptid stories. Either way is going to get you that link. If you like that, subscribe to them. They're great.
Are you talking about maybe Ultima Thule, The Land Beyond?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And I thought there might be a hole at the North Pole for that, but I always thought there was one at the South Pole for Thule.
And I was wrong in the name I used. Anamiki is the I believe Thunderbird of I can't remember what tribe that was out west. I was actually thinking of Amarok, the wolf of the tundra, which is up in Nunavut, Canada.
Interesting.
I have one addendum to an earlier comment I made when you were asking about the yokai comment. I would probably make a distinction between, because L5R has Oni, as in bad thing from Shadowlands, is terrifying and evil and 1,000 varieties of kill you, and yokai Oni, I'd probably say cool on yokai on Oni yokai, but not cool on hell beast from the other from another world who's going to kill you in 1,000 ways.
Sure.
One's cool. One's like a troll, just a horned cool troll, or just a troll, and the other one is an abomination that will destroy reality.
But isn't the yokai Oni more like an ogre than it is a troll?
It is more of an it is more ogreish, but I'm also used to if I was playing with the rules of Changeling, ogres are also the unseelie version of trolls.
Okay, fair.
So at that point I'm using I would say troll template, just change the features to fit more the yokai variety, the Oni variety, so you can pass. Others will understand. It will work. Now, if I play L5R, I'm definitely going to be like, axing a whole lot of that because that's that world, that setting. But if I'm playing in my own setting and my own custom games, oh yeah, totally. Go ahead, play. Oni okay, as long as you just go, I'm an Oni, but I'm not that Oni over there. Meanwhile, there's this, Oni no, when you have the Oni no fill in the blank, we don't talk about that guy. That guy's going to kill everybody. I'm a cool one because I have a big baseball bat and that's spiked in some cool horns. That's what I got.
Freaking Tetsubo.
Yep. Look, I know it. You know the term.
Sorry,
I don't know the term, but most other people just go big baseball bat with spikes. That's good.
Yeah, Tetsubo.
I got a player really good with an Oni one.
Yeah.
I make my males very aggressive Onis, but female Onis are very rapey towards human males.
That usually happens with the dungeon masters and
Death by
Death by Snoo. It's a thing.
It is. A lot of us like it.
All right, now there's three things I love.
We have Bears of Jade. If we want to do demons, I got Way of the Shadowlands, Bears of Jade, and Way of the Shadowlands, which are just about pretty much going to be like, so you want to die? I want to kill you in horrible ways.
No, I have three things I love. The First Amendment, booze and boobs, and Death by Snoo.
Right.
All right. Jay, did you answer the question I had? If there's any Fae that you will not allow in your campaign as a playable?
Will not allow as a playable?
All of them?
Most of the Fae are not playable. And that's because they are tools meant to be used by me, the game master, for the most part. As far as playable Fae, I mean, you've got your dwarf, your elf, your halflings, your gnomes.
Your starter set?
Yeah, you've got the starter set. I would consider Changeling, because Changeling is a type of Fae. It's actually it's a Fae mortal hybrid that doesn't know if it wants to be Fae or mortal. They're kind of stuck between, and until they make a choice of choosing which parent they want to take after, they're just kind of stuck, kind of in between. So they have some benefits of Fae and some benefits of mortal free will and mortal ability to circumnavigate some of the indirectness of Fae, but Changelings, for the most part, I would consider allowing them.
Death by Snoo. Yeah, no. What are you, gay?
What are you
Kelpies?
gay?
Oh, Kelpies always creeped you out. Yeah, Kelpies are a weird plant Fae.
Any vegetarian, any
all vegetarians should fear the Kelpie.
Yeah, those are weird. What about you, Crafty Gamer?
well, perfectly honest, if I'm not going to let my players play a alien intelligence, which is literally something that eats gods, I'm not going to let them play something that can create gods easier than man. Because yes, gods are created by man's belief. The Fae, being what they are, don't have to have any belief to just create a god. A powerful enough Fae could literally just walk up and go, poof! I have just made Crocacox. He is the god of all big dicks. Just because he could.
That's fair.
Fae that powerful are very rare, but the fact that all my Fae, including the Oni, can kind of warp reality makes them way too powerful as player characters. The only ones that don't warp reality are ones that are already player characters.
That's fair. Is there any? I sort of have a few that I would allow to be played, but it would be very, very pointed to the campaign. I allow somebody to play a Silky, but the concept of the Silky was to try to get back its hide, its seal skin. So I don't know. I think I've always wanted to play a leprechaun. I think leprechaun would be fun, but you have to sound like David Warlock or Warlock David, the one who played the leprechaun.
Talking about Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
Davis,
You have to play as he would.
Yeah, but all I'd have to do is throw some shoes on the ground to distract you.
I have ADD. That's not hard. But no, I think there are some classes, if people actually took the time, if the DM took some time, and I hate to say watering them down, but watering them down is actually probably the correct way to put it, to make them a little bit more playable. I think you could come out with a very interesting campaign. Actually, I wanted to do it. There was a Kickstarter earlier this year for 5th edition, where they did a lot of Celtic mythology, Fae and whatnot, that turned into playable characters. I think a mutual friend of mine and Jade got a copy, or at least a PDF, because it's Finn.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious which way they did. I mean, of course, there's several ones of Fae that I don't think should be playable characters. I completely agree. They're overpowered. But for the sake of, oh my God, I'm going to say the S word, story, I think there should be some wiggle room.
And I'm going to caveat off of you, and actually even myself and crafting. Just because a Fae type can be exceptionally powerful in what they can do, doesn't mean that they truly are powerful. Because you can always offer some kind of challenge that they can't necessarily use their power in. Again, this gets back to the idea that Fae have rules that they follow. Never lie to a Fae. For only Fae can lie to other Fae, or rather speak in circles. If you set out, an outline for your own game, what the rules of the Fae are, you can keep a player who is playing a Fae in check fairly easily. They hate iron, so if you strike a Fae with cold iron, or any iron really, it's their bane. It hurts them incredibly. And never be rude to a Fae. Always be respectful and polite, because if you are rude to a Fae, you will be the recipient of all of their malice and all of their trickery and their punishments. Hell, some of them will even take you into the land of the Fae to torment you even further. You'll kind of get stuck there for a while. Yeah, Kai.
Another concept to take into it. I know the idea of, because you're dealing with Fae, you're dealing with the creatures of which at least are the personification of dreams and nightmares. They're stuff of immaterium and things that exist and don't exist. They're malleable. The problem here is that, to use the example that was given of, I created the god of big dicks and all that shit. The problem here is that how far does his dominion go? If I'm playing a very powerful Fey noble, and yes, if I'm in my freehold, I'm in my holdfast, I'm out beyond the edge of reality, out in the wilds and the chaos, where I can actually embrace my true wonders and glories, or I've managed to cultivate an area of dreamers who are willing to listen to me enough. I can conjure enough until somebody on the outside comes in and starts to question it. Goes, who's this god? Well, he's got big dicks. I've never heard of him. Where's his power? He's got this power. Are you sure? And suddenly, you bring what's known as banality, consensus. This horrible sense of you can bring wonders, but they collapse very quickly because you're bringing glamour and illusions and wonder with you. Your curses are amazing until someone more powerful comes along and breaks them. Because obviously, as powerful as your curses are, especially if you're playing D&D, remember, some priest of a god comes along and dispels your curse, and suddenly the gaius you've been under has been shattered. The curse you've been experienced is shattered because somebody else's god came in and said no. Some wizard said, "I wish," and it was gone. And so you're dealing with the idea that you're playing a mercurial creature. At its heart, you're a whimsical mercurial creature. You can be wonderful and glamorous and noble. Yes, we have limitations, but you're also horrifying and terrifying, depending on which side of the coin you've been falling onto that day. You could one day that she noble you've been encountering is the most glamorous, wonderful thing, and the next day they're a terrible beauty that instills fear and horror upon glancing. Same person, different name they put on
and
that.
You hit the head on the nail with that. It is glamorous. It's a glamour. It's not real.
Yeah.
Wait.
I can spin a wonderful tale. I can take you to a magical place where you won't even think about it. But eventually the glamour fades. It breaks. The illusion breaks, and you'll see them for what they really are. And then suddenly you'll start, if you're not enchanted anymore, their power over you fades. Kind of like, I hate to say it, the Goblin King from the Labyrinth.
Oh.
It has a lot of the same power things of, it took her really going, you have no power over me anymore, and suddenly he didn't have any. And that's and ultimately, yes, I'm dealing with 100 varieties of awesome fairies I can describe, but they're ultimate high-end magics. The Oni, the troll, the ogre is going to smash you with a tree. That's just raw strength. But there's other things that will eat at him. The cold iron, many other things. But they're but like the true terrors of them is their magics, and those are the things that are both wonderful and the most easiest to break, and the most easiest to fade away, and the most easiest forgotten. Because I don't know what better way to put it than that. I'm sorry.
Well, that works. I mean, I joke around. You're talking about the glamour that when you first meet the Fae, it being whatever it is, they can make you see the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful man, the most whatever.
Horrifying.
But once you make that deal, you put your hand out to seal the proverbial deal, which you never do with the Fae. Then the glamour goes away.
Well,
or not.
I mean, the thing with Fae is, if you make a deal with a Fae, keep the deal with the Fae. and deal in good faith, because there's nothing the Fae hate more than deal breakers or word breakers. And you will be in their power if you break your word with them. Because when they make a deal with you, there is an enchantment that comes over the character. And that enchantment cannot be broken with break enchantment. It's almost a godly effect. And if you break your word with the Fae, you have to pay a price. Like, there is a price to be paid. And it's up to you, the game master, to determine what that price is, but it should be costly. It shouldn't necessarily be something they notice immediately. It should be something that bites them in the ass, because it should be absolutely related to the deal that was made. If a player makes a deal with a Fae for, I don't know, 10 more years of life, but in trade, the Fae gets, I don't know, their firstborn son, by cheating the Fae of that son, and you still get the 10 years, that son, they will twist that son against you in some way. They'll make the son turn on you, and at the end of the 10 years, that son may kill the character. Things of that nature. Like, if you make a deal with a Fae, keep it. I mean, like that's just, it's not just good etiquette, but it's also, how I want to say this. I'm sorry, my tongue is all tangled on me.
We're talking about the Fae, and your tongue is,
I know, right?
In your mouth. No, never.
But if you become a deal breaker with the Fae, word is going to spread amongst the entirety of the Fae. They will all attempt to make deals with you in order to curse you further.
I was just thinking about that. I would allow brownies to be a playable class. I change them up. I basically use the gnome, because no one plays gnomes, as the skeleton, and build onto that.
Just go ahead and insult Max Liao a little more, okay?
What, for being a gnome?
For being he's the only one we ever know of that picks gnomes directly, and because of that, like, a lot of his buddies will stream, and whenever it comes to, like, pick your race, nobody ever says gnome, and then somebody will point out, nobody ever plays a gnome. Max will play a gnome.
I shall play a gnome.
I run at a shop. I've maybe only seen one person play a gnome in 4 years.
Okay.
The last time I played a gnome, it was a force specialist wizard. Maybe it was a force specialist sorcerer, but it was a bard sorcerer, and they were a mime. They were literally mute. They could only cast silent magic, but all of their spells were force spells, so they were naturally invisible.
Last time I played a gnome, it was in 3.5 days.
Yep.
All right. Without saying Jim Butcher, where do you guys get your information when wanting to look into adding the Fae into your campaigns? Without using Jim Butcher as a reference point, because I know how three of you fuckers are.
I mean, like I said before, I told you my jam was Ravenloft.
Ravenloft.
That was like what we fucked with in middle school and high school, and that was Eric's favorite setting to run in. And so when you played with Eric, you had to play in Ravenloft. So you're playing with Fae. It's haunted bogs, moonlight fins, romantic imagery, and creepy, wispy females to get your attention and have you go away from the main path. They split the party, and then when you come back in the morning, your buddy's been raped to death. He's laying dead, and what should be his body is a defiled corpse. and they've completely ravaged the hell out of it.
That's...
Or better yet, like he sees something as he's paddling your boat up this boggy river in the fog, and he sees something in the fucking reflection of the water. So then he tumbles out of the boat. You're like, Bob, Bob, no, Bob, no. And you grab for Bob, and you can't get Bob back in the boat. And Bob's over there in the embrace of a Kelpie, and he fails his death magic save because she kisses him. Well, if you can kiss a Kelpie and keep your death magic above what you need to, you have a nice French kiss. And the Kelpie's confused, but she keeps a hold of you because maybe, just maybe, you'll stay in there long enough to pickle and become her food. Most of the time, you die because you fail your death save. You drown. She kisses you and shoves all that water into your lungs. And that was where I got most of my Fae stuff, was in the beginning stages of playing Ravenloft with Eric and some other people at the Firehouse in Latham.
Okay. I got to find somebody. I don't want to be the DM. I got to find somebody who's willing to run an old-fashioned Ravenloft campaign.
Not I.
Right.
Okay, define old-fashioned.
Okay. Are you talking like first ed?
No, I'd like to say a 3.5 one, because at least I still remember majority of the rules or how it goes. I'd be willing to try second edition if somebody will put up with my, hey, how does this work? Because it's the norm. I would even go far back as first edition, but the person would have to have some patience with me, because once again, I jumped in at 3.5 that led into Pathfinder. I mean, yes, we have rules and we have more books than common sense.
Okay, well, there's the Discord channel for Troll Lord Games. They make Castles and Crusades. Bunch of dudes in there, bunch of ladies in there, real nice people. Always looking for people in their games. Go down in their recruiting area and recruiting channel and tell them what you're looking for. And yeah, lots of third ed, second ed, a little bit of first ed. And Castles and Crusades is based off the 3.0 version of the game, which, like so many other good versions of the game, are.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I already asked Bruce. Kai?
Ooh. I'm just going to go continue to pimp the three big things that I draw a lot of my stuff from. If you really want to just read a lot of fun things, I would suggest the Graceful Wicked Masks, the Fair Folk and Encompasses Celestial Directions Volume 2, The Wild, which is pretty much the 3 books on from first, second edition on how to run the Fair Folk. If you want a more steampunky, modern, Victorian era version of the Fae, I would suggest looking into Castle Falkenstein, the world's best game that has the world's worst role-playing rule set attached to it, but probably the best resource you'll ever buy if you ever want to run a Victorian era role-playing game. And then I will also point towards, if you just want to see how you could dilute the fairy down into being playable in their own weird little compartment that you just every once in a while, I lower a bucket of water and food down to make sure they're still alive. There's Changeling the Dreaming. There's a lot of books, a lot of lore, a lot of fun ways to do nobility and other things. But everybody said it's the best game you'll ever play. Second best game. Sorry, Mage's Ascension exists. But it's the second best game you'll ever play. Okay. And it's just a fun source of loot that game for everything it's worth, and go play an inferior game that's more popular, and then import all your material into it, and then watch players go, wait, what? Huh? This is familiar, but not. And then you can just keep hitting them with fun little things and then watch them all just kind of go, this is so much more cooler and different than I've ever been used to. Beyond that, yeah, those are the 3 main rule books. But after that, it's just simply read a whole metric shit ton of everything, and just go. Mythology is fun. Everything is technically a fairy creature if you think about it in weird ways, and then run with it.
That's fair.
Connell,
yeah.
are you familiar with Laurel K. Hamilton?
Yes, but no.
Did you do a bunch of werewolf books back in the early 2000s?
Yeah, like if your wife or girlfriend likes dudes with long hair and jean jackets, if she's really into like werewolves with mullets and vampires that are a little bit more advanced than Twilight, but not much more advanced, not even close in the same realm as Anne Rice, Laurel K. Hamilton. And Laurel K. Hamilton she's a good smut writer. If you want fantasy smut, if you want Jim Butcher but smut, and it's written for a woman, and if you want to get laid, have a female friend come over and read this book for her. It's moisture therapy for the oyster.
The other thing about Laura K. Hamilton is the smut becomes unreadable by about book 7.
Book 7, book 6 is where you step out.
Yeah, just check out the series.
I will keep that in mind. Supernatural. Six Nations. Supernatural, the TV show, has some very interesting takes on.
Yes, it
does. The guy who played the Doctor off Voyager was a leprechaun on Supernatural.
Okay. Another book series that if you don't want the smut of Laurel K. Hamilton, but you still want supernatural, weird, and urban fantasy, you can look into the Kim Harrison series. That's also pretty good for bringing you a lot of weird fairies and supernatural elements into your urban fantasy without it being hardcore smut.
Yeah, she is good. Kim Harrison's good.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I didn't mention Kim Harrison. I just was going on previous experience with oyster therapy.
I know.
David the Gnome keeps getting brought up in chat. So if you've never seen Tom Bosley play a gnome or voiceover for a gnome, here's that YouTube channel. You can watch at your leisure.
I've seen David. I watched David the Gnome at the cartoon as a kid.
I think it was mandatory viewing for some people as they were growing up.
It was on Nickelodeon, and it was good. All right. What was I going to ask? That whole situation, just like
books on Fae.
Oh, right.
Or resources.
The crafty gamer. If you're going to do, if you're doing research on Fae, do you have any books that you're more likely to look at? Where are you going to go for information on the Fae? Where would you recommend?
Well, for information, if I'm looking for specific information, the Fae, for lack of a better term, because we're talking about the Fae, I will honestly ask questions of online, because I am not literate enough to be able to see, okay, this book has that information, this book has this information. It all quickly becomes a jumble of words to me. Very quickly. That's part of my reading disorder. But gotcha. As for where I can answer this is more inspiration, which is anything and everything. Because there was one time I actually, while in my head, was inspired. Oh, just one in my head. Right, I'm always in my head. While driving.
Whoop, and his internet.
He pulled an Omenal. Missing.
I think his internet just failed him.
All right. Well, I'll get back to him.
Trigger.
Yeah.
Jay, where did you go for?
So the first book I read, and this was 20 years ago. I picked it up while I was actually in Ireland. I picked it up in a Irish bookstore in Dublin, and it was Irish fairy tales. I think it was God. I think the name on it was like W.B. Yeats. It's been a while since I've read it. I still have it somewhere in one of my boxes from moving so many times. That's a good source for some good Irish folk tales. But the Irish mythological cycle and Celtic mythology out of the University of Chicago also has a lot of really good resources for. I mean, it's a dry read, but it's a good resource for understanding some of the Fae and some of the Irish mythos, and where it comes from. But other than that, do your homework, do your research, look up individual different types of Fae, different types of Fae lands. I know of Tir na Nog. I know of the Slog. Let's see here. What are the Fae? God, Land of the Mists, Land of the Young, which is Tir na Nog. But do your homework, do your deep dives, research your different Fae of different cultures. And Fae can be spirit folk. They can be spirits of the dead that are that rise up. Now most people would say, well, those are undead. Well, stories of Fae come from superstition and from the belief in the supernatural. And undeath is very supernatural. So a lot of the old Celtic myths are actually about spirits more so than direct Fae.
All right. Crafty Gamer, you got cut out. I was going to circle back to you. So where were you going?
Where I was going with that was the fact that, sorry, I should say I was seeing a traffic light, and it didn't do anything special, but it made me think, what if gremlins are Fae, like from the movie Gremlins? And because my first thought was, a lot of people will claim, ooh, that would scare the fuck out of me. And I have seen some unexplainable things. Not diving into that, but I have. But what I mean by that is, turn around and use the gremlins in more of a Fae sense. Like, what if the gremlins were affecting the lights, and when everyone said there was a green light, they seen a green light, but the technology, because it was magically induced by Fae, for in this instance, the main company didn't see it, and you're still charged. And I know where I was going with this. I just lost it.
I get that.
Overall, my point being, inspiration can come from anything, and as long as you have at least a decent knowledge of the Fae, I won't say a broad knowledge, because broad knowledge can get you straight into imagination land with the Fae very quickly. But as long as you have decent imagination with the Fae, you can work around different possibilities of Fae, and if you don't feel like making your own, you can use existing Fae in unique ways. So inspiration is literally all around you.
Immensely agree. I would say Gremlins from the movie Gremlins are a type of Fae. It might not be a European Fae. I think the term Gremlins came from. I knew a few vets from World War II who would bitch about bringing something. If something went wrong, it was the goblins they brought back from Japan with them, or some nonsense. I shouldn't say it's not nonsense.
The term gremlin actually comes from Scottish speakers of Scotland.
What he's talking about, the gremlins from World War II, there were so many sightings of these in airborne vehicles And I'm not talking about the Foo Fighters or anything else. I'm talking about like people would see gremlins on a plane when they're flying over parts of like Europe or Asia, and they would watch the gremlin and be like, "This doesn't need to be here." And he opens up a panel and grabs the wires and bites through the cabling, and the plane doesn't really react so well. It's not going to do its mission as well as it should. Then the gremlin just disappears, and they get it back to base. Nobody died, but when they get back to base, they investigate the panel, and the guy tells them what he saw. He's like, "I saw this little 2 foot high person say this doesn't belong here," and he rips out the panel and he just chews on the cabling and looks at the cabling, and everybody's like, "That looks like it was bit through. Did you bite through the cabling?" "No, I would die. I'm a conduit for electricity. I would die." And that's where like the gremlins got popular because it's a Scottish word, but that was a popular thing because of all the sightings in World War II. Oh, shut up now.
There's something on the wing. Something.
Oh God.
But yeah, no, like I said,
Jade wasn't finished yet, and I didn't mean to interrupt him.
Well, I mean, the term gremlin, it comes from Scottish soldiers during World War II. And a lot of people thought they were talking about the Germans and how they would be able to, with their flak guns, hit the airborne vehicles, the different bombers and such from ground. And the term gremlin actually spawned from very angry Scotsmen trying to say Germans. But the creature gremlin went by a different name at some point. And what you're referring to is the more like the phenomenon would be considered like ball lightning. Or, Alloy. God, I forgot where I've just lost my train of thought.
Sorry, goblins.
I'm not doing well tonight.
You're doing 50-hour weeks. I mean, that's better than 60-hour weeks, but still.
I mean, 60 hours starts next week, so.
That sounds really good. We're going to stretch out a little more before the holidays.
Yes,
Did your vacation start?
So, yeah.
Hope you don't want to spend any time with your family, but why?
Yeah, like I said, 4 a.m. comes very swiftly in the evenings.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna for mine. Grimm's Fairy Tale, the Grimm's Brothers stories.
Okay.
Just growing up with my grandparents, I was subjected to a lot of stories about the wee folk from Ireland, and the Eastern European variation of their fae, which is, like I said, pure nightmare fuel. Not all of them, but a lot of them or at least the stories I heard or was told were just bad. Who doesn't like a dancing hut? Let's see.
Well, don't in that instance, Connell, most fae were meant to be a lesson in not doing certain things in certain areas so you didn't get killed.
My grandparents had an apple tree that they'd make cider from. And out of the first batch, they always poured the first batch back into the roots. So the fae in that area would not be upset that they stole something from them. So superstitious? No, me never. But Grimm's Brothers Fairy Tale, Grimm's Fairies, and not the American version where everybody gets out all right. I'm talking about the one where no one makes out alive version. And just a lot of Celtic mythology. Just reading a lot about the Celtic mythology. I know this week we're basically talking about the creatures and not about the places, which I'm fine with. But they kind of go hand in hand, especially with stories growing up as a kid. That they want to trick or trick you to follow them back to wherever their home was. I think anybody who thinks Disney, and I'm a little bit more forgiving on Disney than most of these guys on the panel. I think the closest thing that Disney ever did to what the Fae was Fantasia. I think everything after Fantasia has just been, we're making this for little kiddies and we don't care.
Well, that's like your opinion, man.
I kept myself. I kept my own nose behind. All right, dude. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's just been millions, and I don't want to say millions, but there's been growing up, especially in the '80s. There's a bunch of cartoons that have variation of fays in them. Fairies have been part of the pop culture for how long? I mean, anybody here remember the trolls that you sodomized by putting them on the end of your pencils?
Yes. I remember those.
Hey, I bought you a troll. What do you do with it? You put it at the end of your pencil. You want me to put my pencil up his ass?
This was the 80s and 90s, man. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
What you thinking there, Kai?
Nothing.
That's something.
I'm reading some things and letting the conversation go because I have nothing of value to add at the moment. But if I do, you'll know.
Going, and I'm going to remove the edit. What would you use? I know I do, so I'm very much guilty of this. Would you use variation of the Jim Butcher's Dresden Files? And Gafty Gamer, I know that you haven't read any of the books, from my understanding.
No, but I have. I know it's not the same, but I have seen the TV show.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's like telling a Star Trek fan, I watched Discovery and I enjoyed it.
I know Star Trek. It has a Wookiee and light swords.
And then they got on the TARDIS and went to go save Azeroth from Gandalf. I understand.
We don't talk about the disaster of Fox.
You know who I blame for that show? It's not the actors.
Fox.
Because I'm not even blaming Fox. Well, I do blame Fox, but Nicolas Cage.
I'm blaming Fox because it was their writers, their director, their series, and they didn't read the material.
Nicolas Cage was one of the executive producers on that fuck up of a show, and because he wanted to be Harry Dresden, everybody's like, "No, you can't be Harry Dresden. We'll get a real actor." His name was Paul Blackthorne. He's an amazing actor. I've seen a lot of shit he's been in. And Nicolas Cage is like, fine, fuck you. I'm taking my ball and going home. A couple years later, we get a Sorcerer's Apprentice where he gets to play. That's not Harry Dresden. I'm sorry. Good attempt, but no. Take you in your old man shoes and go home.
Your venom towards this it mirrors my level of venom towards the Hellraiser. Towards the Constantine series, which I'm like, this isn't Constantine, but it's got everyone's favorite person in it. No, this isn't Constantine.
Are you talking about the movie?
Yes.
Or the TV show that was actually good?
No, we're talking about the movie.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is a great actor. I think he's a great human being, but he wasn't John Constantine. Now, if you were talking about the show that was on CBS for a couple seasons, 13 episodes, that was John Constantine.
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure. Speaking Constantine, though, I will if I see like a bug or a spider and I'm smoking a cigar and I have a glass, I will blow the smoke into the cup and put it over the spider and say, "Welcome to my life, asshole." I will do that. I get.
Hey, look, when you're playing it, look, you can honestly take the John Constantine approach to to magic and apply it to fairy creatures very, very well. Remember, if you're going to sell your soul, don't sell it to one person, sell it to 13 and have them fight over who gets to own you. Well, you get all the power.
The show. I mean, as long as they took the word Constantine off the title,
No,
wasn't that bad of a movie.
no. Unfortunately, it's got the name attached to it. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm just saying.
Hey, look, your Dresden series is the same way. And they took the name off, it'd still be a
No,
yes,
no, possibly. Anyways, back to what we're talking about. Because I'm not going to tell Kai that he's wrong on the YouTube. I'll wait till we all get off.
I'm wrong on this because I want to like it, but I can't because it sucks.
There's not enough meth in the world. Wait, what?
No, there's not.
I live in Pekin, Illinois. We make it now.
You don't make it. Goofy Ridge makes it. You just buy it.
That's okay. Speaking of Faye,
that is a Faye realm.
Which Faye? Last question tonight. I want to at least try to keep us on topic, so Baron doesn't give me a dirty look next time I see him. This is all your fault.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. We had to play that miserable part of RLM trying to spoof Discovery, and they made a more competent version of Discovery.
We're going to use the mushroom. Anyways, back to topic. At least trying to. No, Grandma, you're not helping. Not helping at all.
I like how everybody's just wanting to get ravenous about this mention of there's a Dresden television series.
There actually, well, I don't know.
No, there's not. There's not one. It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Stop looking for it. Stop trying to watch it. It doesn't exist. It's like trying to find an episode 7 of Star Wars that doesn't exist.
Fever dream.
Okay. When running a campaign, do you have a particular Fae that you like to use as a bad guy, it being in the low levels, the medium levels, or the high levels? I'll start with you, Kai.
Simple, fast answer. I just use the she. I'm sorry. I just use high elves, the grand creatures. Commoners are commoners. No thanks. Don't need them. But if I'm going to set up a bad guy, the end boss, I'm going to set up the nobles. And it's like, you think politics in your mortal realm is dumb? Get ready to go see what true nightmare fueled inspired noble house politics feels like, and you are a poor pathetic mortal caught in their game. It's fun. It's great. Everyone's beautiful. You are not. And
that's a concept I'll have to work around. No, I agree. I get. I mean,
think of your average party. No matter how beautiful and awesome your high charisma character are, you are not a walking glamour machine. In fact, when you walk in the room, you maybe attend the mortal realm. The she will look at you in the noble courts and go, "Ew, who are the mortal in here? Quick, someone fumigate. We got mortals in here." Delouse the place. They brought parasites and fungus with them. Ew, good God, get rid of them. Get rid of them. Or
Labyrinth.
Yes.
That's a really good description of Faye.
Yes.
That entire movie is amazing. If you're looking at it just like Faye, I need Faye.
Yes. Honestly, the Goblin King is a fantastic character. Yes, he is. He's a good character, and the mangas that finish it out are great. But no, I mean, it's like if you set up the Fae right, you could have literally a reality-destroying grand crusade that burns half the world because they hate the idea that you're all boring and disgusting and ugly and God, pests, get rid of them. Ew. And yeah, that's how I do. If I'm going to use a specific Fae, it's going to be the Banshee. It's going to be the highest of the high. I'm showing up there and being like, no, we were here before your world, and we're going to be here after it. And let people go, but we have gods. We were here before your gods. We tell you no one's just under your gods. Bye.
In my world, we made some of those gods, so
Nah, I don't want to claim to your gods. You're interfering. Look at them; they're disgusting. Like, he's got a hand missing, and that one's an alcoholic. We don't want these gods. These aren't ours. You take them. Go away. These are inferior.
Imagine saying the word alcoholic like it was bad.
Right? I mean, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Did you buy your gods on Wish?
No, but if you want to see a Wish program, go watch Condor the DM. He is a Wish version of a good DM.
Okay, I'm done. We're running out of time. Quick.
All right.
We're done.
I'm on pumpkin time now.
Bruce.
Yo.
What's your favorite kind of Fae to use in your campaigns? And when do you start using them? At low levels, high levels, so forth?
I love using Fae for low levels, but I'm just going to tell you, you're in my campaigns, both of them.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where we see where Connell's ability to keep player knowledge and character knowledge separate goes.
Don't forget.
Yeah, he will.
I'll drink and sleep since until then.
So the hobgoblins in my world, it's a Pathfinder goblin or hobgoblin, but they're the ones that made the Onyx Road or fashioned it into what it is. It was already existing by the dwarves, but the hobgoblins are the one that are using it as much as they are to corrupt the world into the world they want. They are making a very fine at any level monster or enemy for the party. And I'm not trying to give away spoilers for the game, but here pretty soon you're going to jet off to the blighted Fey realm and try to figure some problems out. So good luck, Connell, and good luck to your friends, because that's going to be a place where your sword arm, yeah, it'll get tested, but it's not the key to your success.
My boots don't work here. Fuck.
I hope you can role play your way out of a wet paper bag. That's all I'm gonna say.
I am
Okay.
I know, right? I can hear Greg already grumbling. God damn it, I'm gonna miss this game.
all right.
I'm already grumpy.
Now, Crafty Gamer,
yes.
would you allow any of your fruit to turn somebody in? Jade, you still there?
Da-da-dum.
Meta.
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. At what kind of Fae do you like to use, and at what level do you bring them in?
Depends on the game. Depends on the direction the characters have decided to go. Generally speaking, they might run into Fae as early as 3rd level in like a D&D game. But since I don't really run level games anymore, mostly index card RPG, I can bring the Fae in quite literally anytime I want and make them go away anytime I want. But in terms of like where they are progression wise, man, I don't see a reason why you can't include Fae at any point in a game. Any level, any point in a story or an overarching story. But if you are going to do it, make it central to whatever theme that you're going for that arc. Involve the Fae, but involve them in ways that the players will want to be further entwined within the politics of the Fae realm. Again, I said at the beginning of the night, and I said it even in the middle of the night, Fae have bylaws, even if the player characters themselves don't fully understand the bylaws. They have bylaws that they follow, and as alien or strange as they may be, they still follow them. And if your players start catching on to what those bylaws are, they can start trying to use or pit the Fae against one another, or to their aid. However, once they cross the Fae, all bets are off. The Fae will turn on them like sharks, like blood in the water with sharks, and they will eat the player characters alive.
All right. Now, thank you for your answer. I got Crafty Gamer. I'm bouncing back to you because your internet is acting like it has a bad case of crabs.
Doesn't usually.
Gotta shave one side and burn the other and stab them as they run across. Anyways, getting back to the question. When we were playing your campaign, you had these wonderful little fruits that gave people extra powers.
Yes.
Now, would you consider making one of them into like a Fey-ish fruit where they gave them Fey-ish abilities? Not like full pledge on I am the new Fey King of the world, but a lesser version, more like a Duke.
Yes, but I'm going to pull, I would presume, both Kai and Jade on this one. If you really ate a Fey fruit and gained Fey powers, you are now a part of the Fey world, so you are going to have to follow some of their rules, along with the human rules, and probably have a role in the world you now have to play, just like a Fey.
I really want to get back to your game sooner, more and more every day. Yours and Kai's. I have the great benefit of being able to jump into Bruce's campaign. I've done it now for a couple of years. I'm enjoying my Saturdays. I can't wait for another guy to pick up the other Saturday, just because I have an evil type character I want to play. Been working on, but I have to say, Crafty Gamer, your game was fun, and if a Fairberry was a thing. A fair grape. Got to work on the wordage there. I'd definitely be interested to see how that pans out. Now, for me, in using Fae, I like using the Fae. I like using lower levels as the goblins, mid levels as your trolls, and trolls at mid level. And when they get to be the uber Mitch, the powerful players that they think that they are from the beginning, I might use something that's called what was that? The Wild Hunt. You can run, you can hide, but eventually it will find you. It will hunt you down. You either join or die.
Join, hide, or die.
Yes. But the Wild Hunt can be talked about next week, because that can also go with places in the Feywild or Chicago, Illinois. Depends, where you get your information from. With that being said, I'm going to hand the control back over to Bruce and tell everybody to go pick up Dresden Files book, read it, enjoy it, and go smoke some more cigars.
Before we go, I'm going to go around the horn. I know, Connell, you've got some stuff in the hopper. What do we got?
This coming Sunday, we will be doing our second time. We're doing a double feature. We are doing a double feature, one from Halloween, and the second one be the first of November's veteran months. We're doing veteran movies. The first one is Dog Soldier. Imagine a werewolf movie with military in the Highlands of Scotland. It was an interesting movie. The second movie was the Mel Gibson Vietnam movie, When We Were Soldiers.
We Were Soldiers Once and Young.
Two of my favorite actors in it. One is Sam Elliott. Who are you, a fucking weatherman, to tell me what the weather is today? If you know that quote, you know the movie. So we're doing that. newbie is Omanow's picks for both of them. Then until we get rest of the crowd, we will be doing nothing but military-ish movies for the month of November. Then we get into Christmas, and we'll talk about that when we get into Christmas. And my phone's blowing up.
Our friend RPG Grandma says, "Oh, it's like the idea that the Hunt's hounds represent the Norse runes, and if I had them hunt, I would assign runic powers to each hound, either Norse or Ogam type powers."
Mm-hmm.
Dog Soldiers
Yeah.
is a great modern take on Lycanthrope, says 6 Nation 31 Kings. Kai, anything in the hopper lately?
I don't know. Have I been writing things? I don't know. Maybe.
Dear God, yes.
Was that
You and David have been writing a lot. If you find David to where he's writing you a lot in there, if you want to invite him into our Saturday night chat so you and him can talk about things, because it seems like you guys have a pretty good rapport, that'd be fine. I know you'd play tested or you looked at some of the stuff he was writing and you'd gotten back to him. So if you wanted to do that, I would completely yeah, go ahead. But that's fine. Yeah, this is the atypical person looking in on Kai's musings, and he says miles of text but good stuff. Yeah.
I write a lot. I'm sorry. It's just what I do.
I think the next time we do Kai's musings, we want to actually look at the Powerful Characters video that they did last night on Gatekeepers, because there was a lot of times I was in the middle of making a pizza, so my hands were covered in flour and moist, so I couldn't really handle my phone and do stuff. Pizzas on Discord. And I just, I want to talk about that, but I don't want to be quote unquote disrespectful. I didn't see any parts of the video where I thought oh my God, I can't believe he said that. No.
Oh, I did when I realized I couldn't join you.
Well, that's what happens when you have another thing planned. Okay.
No, I know what happened to Connell last night. It wasn't because of a game, so that's his personal business, and I'm going to leave him to it.
No, it was not coffee, Bruce.
I was going to say, and if you need something to gun down your morning blah, get yourself some 22 Sierra Breakfast Blend, the only coffee with an A10 Warthog on a label.
I want that coffee now.
Okay, so the Crafting Gamer, any plans for this coming week?
This week is not this week is your usual game, so the only thing for this week is letting out a video on Saturday.
Awesome. Looking forward to watching some of that. I really like your go at the Robotech stuff. I think you do a good job of it. I just advertised 22 Sierra, but I'm going to give you guys a link for Blackout Coffee. If you want Blackout Coffee and you want a 10% discount, there's my code right there. Hey, there's our buddy Baron G-Rock.
Heal up faster.
No shit. Don't leave me in charge of this nonsense.
Kai or Jade, I got to ask you. You're getting ready to go into some really rough times here, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Work is ramping up. We've got some projects in the hopper that need to be expedited toot sweet, and I don't know how much free time I'm going to have outside of work, but I am going to put my best effort into coming up with content for Gatekeepers in the following weeks. So I don't know if I will be around for TableBreakers, though. I'll try, but again, my work weeks are going to be ramping up to between 10 to 12 hour days to make 60 hour between 50 to 60 hour weeks to get this project that is at work done.
Don't worry, I'll be your proxy. I'll let them know when they suck.
Our friend Flady1, our dirty campaigner, Says, it was really nice watching all of you relax and have a fun time with the topic. Refreshing after a grueling week.
Oh, good.
And
This topic, the fate, it kind of circles around at least four of us is one of our favorite, authors. I mean, you can't say Jim Butcher without thinking Dresden. You can't think Dresden without the Fae or the Wee Folk. Or
I can absolutely think Jim Butcher without thinking Dresden, because he also did Codex Alara.
yeah, those books don't exist.
Yeah,
There's
they
only
do.
one
They're
series
actually
that
not
matters.
bad.
I'm good. I don't need another book series to have to wait for the next one for years to get made.
I mean,
Codex Alara is complete, so.
Yeah, I get that, but he took time off from Dresden, which I still hold against him, and so I'm just going to wait for him to finish writing Dresden. And I might wait another 10 years.
I mean,
and I'll pick up.
In fairness, though, the time he took off of Dresden, he got divorced. His favorite dog died, or his best friend died, and he also moved, I think, twice.
he moved. Wait, he got divorced. His dog died. He remarried and moved twice. I think that's lineup. And as much crap as you want to get, as little crap as we can give Butcher for delaying of the book, the person who holds the highest record of what the fuck is Mr. George R.R. Martin. Come on, man! 2 more books.
You're insulting the Great Glacier?
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet.
And there's the Jim Dresden website there, jimbutcher.com. Have fun with that. My streams here over the next week as follows. Friday night shit show with Janet from Another Planet channel. Don't come if you don't want to talk about politics. That's all I have to say, really. Saturday, it's going to be back to fucking with big red fire-breathing dragons and fire giants. My players love that because they all specialize in fireball and firewall, and I can't wait. Sunday, it's going to be a day I spend in Discord. I probably will be on an art stream from 1 to 4 with Machini, but after that, I'm going to pop back into my world and Discord, watch a few episodes of Futurama if the Plex server. Last week it was weird. I couldn't get into Plex, so we went over to Tubi and watched Die Hard, and then we watched a really awful movie called Powder. It's Janet's month. November I gave her the whole month because I absolutely hate Thanksgiving. I absolutely am okay with no Thanksgiving. I know that I like the Providence. I like the idea of Thanksgiving. I just hate what it is today, and I hate turkey. So Janet has got Son Patrick Flannery movies all month. Next, on Sunday, we'll be watching a movie called Suicide Kings, which is a great film. If you haven't seen it, come by our Discord. Then, what?
Suicide Kings gave me new respect for a toaster.
I love that toaster.
That toaster is my hero.
Don't you ever fucking insult that toaster.
I'm not. Trust me.
That toaster is so multi. It's got so many multi-purposes. Yeah, Grandma, don't worry. I save turkey for people that like it. I think it's great that there's so many other things out there I do enjoy, but I worked as a butcher for years, and I got fired because of turkey.
I do duck.
I'm not big into poultry. I'll eat leg quarters all day from chicken because they're cheap, but I don't do that. That Monday night we talk about Suicide Kings on my channel with Janet from Another Planet, and then Tuesday we're watching another Roger Moore film. No, we're Roger Moore discussion over 32 flavors of Nick Weiser, which if you want toxic masculinity, that's the stream to be on for it. And that's my week. And I know that sounds like a lot, but Bruce is fat and he's wanting to die. So easiest way to do that is be sedated or seated and be on camera a lot. And that'll mean I don't move around much. My bad. Okay, so I really am almost done with like half of the Big Trouble in Little China figs, and I'm very happy with how they've turned out. I think this pile of shame that we're working on, I'll focus on that for a while after we do that, and then we'll get into some other things.
Bruce, you still need to watch King Arthur, the Legendary Sword, because if you take out King Arthur and put in
It's a
He-Man,
He-Man film, yes.
I'm going to be pushing it until you watch it.
Okay, that's fine. Jade, you did a really good job of being here tonight, despite all the things you're going through. I gotta really just, while we're on camera, man to man, I want to make sure you know that I really appreciate you being here. One, you class up the place, and two, you do a very good job of enunciating your reasons why you appreciate certain elements and narratives in your games, as either a player or as a referee, and I think that's very important.
Well, thank you.
I also have to thank the rest of my panel here. The Crafting Gamer, being the industrious man that he is, he could chew through this table in an hour. Connell, Cigar DM, and of course my friend Kai, who you can see with me on Saturday night. I think we're going to do that discussion about big, powerful characters. I don't think it would have really helped us if we would have been on discussion on the panel for that, but we'll watch it and we'll do some opinions on various questions you have, because I think between me and Kai, we can throw some different elements on there, and hopefully we give you some other perspectives in what you had.
Sure.
That's like a week and a half from now. So please.
Yeah, no, I'm aiming high. I get it.
I need to sleep sometime.
Well,
speaking of sleeping, I know Jade and I are both in the same situation. We're running into time problems.
No. And with that, Connell, you want to help us out and get us out of here?
Yeah, I want everybody out there to take a moment, look at the person next to you, and say, "What the fuck was I thinking?" No, all joking aside, I want to thank the chat for being here, Bruce for hosting us for another fun Thursday as we're talking about some of our favorite topics. You can look forward to seeing us next week at 7:30 as we're doing the second part of the Fae, which will be more or less where they come from, their lands, their kingdoms, so forth and so on, which I'm looking a great deal for. Between now and then, go find a game, go find something that brings you joy in your life, and be nice to each other.
Sounds like a solid plan. Thank you, everybody.